What is up, guys? This is Orca Flop, and today I'm coming at you with another video, and today I'm going to be doing a preview to this year's championship IMSA race, Motul Petit at Road Atlanta. Now, forgive me if I sound different in this video because my throat's been hurting for like the past week now, and it's a little bit of a struggle to talk in long narratives like this, but here we are, gotta do it. And plus, I'm very passionate about Motul Petit. I cannot wait for this race tomorrow. Really excited for it. So here is your preview video for Motul Petit. This is a championship race for all four IMSA classes. So basically what we're going to be going over is the point standings, what could happen, what could not happen with these classes, who could end up as champion, basically. But before we get into that, I'd like to apologize for the lack of uploading. I've just had a lot of schoolwork, and I've been caught up in a lot of things recently, and I haven't really had time to make videos. So, much apologies for that. Let's get into this, and yeah, let's go. So, I'm sorry. To start this video off, Road Atlanta as a track, it's owned by NASCAR, and it drives very similarly to Laguna Seca. So I didn't make a Laguna Seca race review, but as you saw in that race, the Ford GTs and the Corvettes were the dominant cars for the most part, and the BMWs for a little bit of the first stint as well. It's a wide variety track where it consists of like flat turns and uphills. It's a lot of uphills and downhills. So throttle time is going to be very, very key at Road Atlanta, as we've seen in the past plenty of times, especially with the prototypes rather than the GT cars. But you need to manage your throttle time a lot of Petit Le Mans. It's key when it comes to exiting the corner and getting the best drive off. And this is where a lot of the front engine or rear engine cars are very good at this, because they have all that weight in the back. They can transfer that, and their weight distribution allows them to launch off corners better, which is why you saw the Fords win Laguna Seca. Now, the Porsches, yes, their engine is in the rear, but they are a rear-engine vehicle. So, unfortunately for them, they kind of get loose even though they have a lot of weight in the back. As to where the Fords, they have just enough distribution to handle the weight of the mid-engine. Same with the prototypes. They're also mid-engine, so they have great weight distribution. So, in terms of the racing you're going to see, I think you're going to see an excellent product in which drivers are going to have to manage their throttle time, and throttle time is going to be who gets around which, and I think you're going to see a lot of the endurance drivers not have the ability to do that, as to where the normal IMSA drivers who've gotten more experience over the season are going to be better at that. So you're going to see a big difference in performance between the strictly endurance drivers and the normal IMSA drivers. There's going to be a very key difference. And I think you're going to get an excellent product. You're going to see the best drivers win, honestly, because you need to be really, really good in order to be able to manage your throttle time and exit the corner really well. So I think the racing product in and of itself is going to be very, very good. I'm very excited to see what it's going to be. Sorry if you hear noise in the background. There's something going on in there. So, continuing on. Shoot, where was I? Yes, throttle time. So, as the prototypes, you might not see it as much, but I know with the different engine packages that the GT cars have, you're going to see a big difference in throttle time, and it's going to be key. It's going to be there. So, in a nutshell, it's going to come down to who can get the best launches off the corner, and I think in terms of those, the Ford GTs are going to have a big advantage because their weight distribution is the best. So, in terms of the GT cars, I wouldn't be surprised to see the mid-engine cars outperform the front-engine or rear-engine ones. So, the racing is going to be very good. It's going to be a lot similar to Laguna Seca, although I think at Road Atlanta you have a lot more passing zones, and it's not as narrow at certain parts as Laguna Seca is. Plus, you don't have that Ray Hall straight where it leads into the big downhill kink. So it's going to feel a little bit like Laguna Seca, but I think you're going to see more passing because it's a bit wider of a track. So the racing product should be fairly good given the classes. The GT classes are going to have a wide variety as to where the prototypes may seem more equal. That's just solely because of their weight distribution. But we'll have to see. So, but that's what I think the racing product's going to be like. And let's get into the point standings heading into the championship finale at Road Atlanta. We're going to start with the GT Daytona class. And over the course of this season, number 86 Meyer-Shank Acura NSX has been dominating. It has been the top of its class in terms of consistency and getting wins. And, you know, the only mess up we've really seen at was really mid-Ohio when it lost, what is it? Was it Mario Farnbacher? Yeah, I think it was Mario Farnbacher lost to Jack Hawksworth, the number 12 Lexus, on a late race restart, and they dominated that entire race. And right now, it seems as though the only other team that can contend with them for that championship is the number 9 Pfaff Motorsports Porsche, which is 32 points back, with 232 points as to the 86 Acura 262 or 264. That's going to be interesting. I think the Pfaff Motorsports Porsche has been able to execute races a lot more than the 86 Acura has, but the 86 Acura has had really good race pace and consistency compared to the Pfaff Motorsports Porsche. Now, that being said, I think the Pfaff Motorsports Porsche has a bit more, or the 86 Acura's got a bit more experience behind them. So I'm trying to think of scenarios that could really hurt them. And the only scenarios I can really think of that could hurt them possibly is if they just mess up. If Farnbacher or Trent Hinman, they drive into a corner hard and they damage the car whatsoever, the number 9 Porsche will be able to make up those points depending on where they hit the wall. And that goes for everything. So, and of course I'll give my opinion on what will happen because it's basically a prediction video. I'm really thinking the number 86 Acura's got this. They just need to execute. That's been their problem recently. If they can just finish a race without making mistakes on a consistent basis, I think they got this. But other than that, shoot, I can't memorize the drivers on the number 9 Pfaff Porsche, but I do know that they're very consistent and they can win easily. They've done it plenty of times. Lime Rock, for example, where they beat the number 86 Acura straight up in a photo finish. So if the number 86 Acura can just run a smart race, they got plenty of points. They got enough of a gap to where they can win it on points. They just need to run a nice and steady race and they can win the championship. Now, if they don't execute the race and the number 9 Porsche puts a fantastic race on, they could probably win the championship depending on when and how the 86 Acura messes up. So, but I think if they run a nice and easy race, they'll win the championship, and that's going to be my prediction. The number 86 Meyer-Shank Acura is going to win the GT Daytona Championship. In my opinion, it's going to be very easy. They've got enough of a points lead, and I think they've been, I think they know the regards that they're on right now. They don't need to run a crazy aggressive race. They just need to run top 5 the entire time, and they got it. So, 86 Acura, going to win the championship. Meyer-Shank Racing, Trent Hinman, and Mario Farnbacher are going to get a title. That's what I think. Now we go to probably my favorite championship battle and also my most stressful battle, GTLM. Oh my goodness. A lot of stress going into this for me. I've been a Corvette racing fan since I was very little. I've always loved Corvettes. They were my first real sports car I saw when I was younger. I always played with the Corvette Hot Wheels. Corvettes have been my number 1 sports car since I was very young. And right now they are 15 points back from the leader, now the 912 Porsche. Now Porsche this season in GTLM has been absolutely dominant. And they're coming into Road Atlanta very strong with a 15-point gap over Corvette Racing number 3 of Antonio Garcia, Yang Madison, and Mike Rockenfeller. The 912 is leading the 911 Porsche over 11 points. That's just because they remain a little bit more consistent. They've gotten more wins than the 911 Porsche, but that doesn't mean they got a shot either. Now, this is going to be very, very close, and oh my goodness, it genuinely scares me because as we all know, I can't believe I haven't made a video on this yet, but I might in the future if I feel like it. The C8R is a thing, the new mid-engine Corvette that was announced in July and debuted in July. It was shown to the public. And now they made the C8R race car, which is a flat plane crank V8. It sounds basically like a Ferrari. Sounds nothing like the LT2 V8 that they put in the new C8 Corvette Stingray. But nonetheless, the C8R is going to be here next year for the 2020 Rolex 24. And this is going to be the final race of one of my favorite Corvettes, the C7R. Oh, man, tomorrow's going to be a struggle. Watching that thing do its final race. Corvette Racing is 15 points back right now. They've got an outside shot at it, but once again, they just can't mess up. Garcia, Magnussen, and Rockenfeller specifically I'm looking at. He kind of fucked up Le Mans for Corvette Racing as well. The 63 Corvette had great track position, then Rockenfeller kind of distanced himself from him, and they didn't have a shot really ever since. So if Corvette Racing can just execute a race, we qualified second behind the Risi Cabetta's own Ferrari that all of a sudden came back after only running the Rolex 24, and I know that's because they crashed in Le Mans 2017. They damaged their car. But nonetheless, the 62 Risi Cabetta's own Ferrari is on pole for GTLM, and Antonio Garcia in the number 3 Corvette is going to be starting on the front row, second, right in front of the number 25 BMW, or the 24 BMW. And the Porsches are a bit back. Vanthor qualified 4th, and I think Tandy qualified like 6th. So going into Petit Le Mans, the 3 Corvette's going to have some good track position going into the race. So Garcia, Madison, Rockefeller, they need to execute a race. Corvette's going to probably have to win, and Porsche is going to need to have an absolutely disastrous day. So that's the only way Corvette's really going to be able to win the championship. They can win it on points. They can. They just need Porsche to have either run 1-2 in the back or just crash out and have horrible races. Now, and the Porsches also have got something on the line this year. This is the last year of the rear diffuser and rear exhaust on the Porsche 911 RSR. Next year, they'll be going to side exhaust. Now, that's what they have in WEC. The Porsche 911 RSR has side exhaust, and it's not going to have that beautiful flat 6 engine scream that the Porsches have always had, which I always dear to my heart. Even though I am a Corvette fan, I love the Porsche flat 6. Still one of my favorite engines ever. If I had to choose the second favorite team in GTL, it'd definitely be Porsche. In terms of the fans, we do have something on the line for Porsche. It's the last year with the rear X-pipe exhaust. Then they're going to be going to the side exhaust, kind of like a stock car sort of. And it's going to be much quieter and less fun to hear. So everyone wants Porsche to go out great, especially with their new beautiful Coca-Cola livery that they have on both the 911 and the 912. That Coca-Cola livery is amazing. It looks great. When I first saw it, I was like, damn, this is going to stand out in the track. And trust me, it will. So Porsche has those great Coca-Cola paint schemes with the last race of the rear exhaust. So they're going to want to go out on a bang and get a championship and end Corvette Racing's that hopefully will be a 4-time championship streak. They've won 2016, 2017, and last year. And Corvette Racing wants to win this year. Porsche wants to break that. Honestly, I think the 912 is going to get it. Easy. Piece of cake. As much as it stings my heart to say that Garcia and Magnussen, the number 3 Corvette team, will not win the championship in the last race of the C7R. God damn it. It's going to be the Porsches. I think they got enough of a points gap. Now, you see, if the 3 Corvette was back by like 9 or less, I think the Corvette would have a chance. But the Porsches are really going to need to fuck up in order for Corvette Racing to win, in my opinion. And the 911, I think, is also in the same situation as the number 3 Corvette. I think, a bit too far back. Sorry about that. I think just a bit too far back. Needs to be 9 points or less to really have a position gap onto him to where they can pass him up in points. But I do think Lawrence Van Thor and Earl Bamber are incredible drivers, as well as Matthew Jaminet. I think they're going to be the ones to execute. They always really do execute, and Van Thor can drive the wheels off a car when he needs to. So, Dave, you're welcome. 912 Porsche is going to win the GTLM championship easy. The LMP2 class. Let's talk about the LMP2 class. What do I really need to say? There's only 2 full-time cars aside from the Dragon Speed cars that ran in the Rolex 24, and they have a collective 30 and 35 points, and ironically, we're still the points leaders heading into Sebring. And ever since IMSA did this absolutely horrendous split between LMP2 and DPI, it's been horrendous. LMP2 has 2 cars every week. There's really not much for me to say here. The Matt McMurray and this 52 Orica team have got it. They got 138 points over the number 38 Orica LMP2. They've pretty much got it clinched, I think. I think they got it clinched, honestly. They've been more consistent. They pretty much won every LMP2 race, aside from like one, I think. I really don't pay attention to LMP2. It's really like how it's in the same state as Prototype Challenge was in 2017, where really no one cares about it enough to actually like go in depth and care. So I wouldn't be surprised if IMSA either merges them back together like I think they should, or they just dump it in the trash like they did the Prototype Challenge class, and LMP2 is no longer a thing. It's kind of one of the last few remaining things from the American Le Mans series that applies to modern-day IMSA, is the Le Mans-based class, which is LMP2. And I think that's what they were trying to go for. It didn't work when they tried to merge Grand Am and ALMS, and it's not working now. The fields are too low. There's 2 cars every week, and the 52 Oric has pretty much got it clinched. So congrats, Matt McMurray on the championship. It's pretty much over. So I guess my prediction is the 52 wins it, but that's really about it, guys. DPI, DPI is pretty much, honestly, there's really not much to say. Now, I know this is the highest class, this is the one everyone talks about overall. But it's pretty much Penske's got this. I really think Penske's got this. They won a championship, I'm pretty sure, in ALMS with the Porsche RS Spiders. I think it was either 07 or 08. And they're going to win another one. Except now they're with Acura. And Juan Pablo Montoya and Dane Cameron will continue to most likely work their magic in that number 6 Penske Acura. They've got a 31-point lead over their teammate, the number 7 of Helio Castroneves and Ricky Taylor. And then they got a 36-point lead over, ironically, the number 31 Whelen Engineering Cadillac of Eric Curran and Felipe Nasser, and Pippo Durrani. Now, it's really ironic because you would think, hey, the Mazdas have won a lot this year. Why aren't they up there? Inconsistency from the Rolex and Sebring has costed them a ton. And that shows in the points. They're like, 50 back? Even with the wins they accumulate over the course of the middle part of the season. It's ridiculous. Mazda's pretty much out of it. I do still want to see Mazda win not win the championship. They're not going to. I would love them to win the championship, and they're not gonna. I want them to at least win the race because Mazda's my favorite DPI team. I love Mazda Team Yost. I think they're a much more structured organization now that they're with Mazda rather than Audi. Now, granted, at Le Mans they had great success with Audi, but that relationship kind of faltered towards the end. So, I really think Penske's got this. I think the number 7 is going to be close, though. See, the problem with the number 6 Acura is they're going to have Graham Rahal in the car. And Graham Rahal, we all know, and especially in his IndyCar career, has kind of been on a downward slump as of recent. So I don't know if they're going to show the consistency that they used to. And if they do, I think they got it. But I really don't think Graham Rahal can carry that team. So I'm going to go for a long shot here. I'm going to say the number 7 Penske car will win the championship. I think, granted that 7 team has made plenty of mistakes in the middle of the season, but I think Castroneves and Taylor have been able to execute better races than Graham Rahal could. So I think those stints with the endurance drivers are really going to fall to them. And I think Pagano, he's going to be in the 7, I'm pretty sure, is going to be much more stabilized with the car than Rahal will be. Rahal hasn't been in a sports car since last year Petit Le Mans. So he hasn't been in a sports car in over a year. No, not over a year, but a year. And in terms of driving time, that's kind of significant. So I think the number 6 Acura, I'm claiming it right here, right now. They're going to choke up the championship because Rahal is going to misjudge a corner, hit a tire barrier, and wreck the car, and the 7 Penske is going to win it. Now, granted, the number 31 Whelen Engineering Cadillac qualified on pole, I believe. But I think the Cadillacs have just had weakness of speed. They weren't good at Laguna Seca, and considering the fact that Road Atlanta drives like Laguna Seca, I think that's going to ultimately fall to them. So I'm going to go with a long shot. Ricky Taylor and Helio Castroneves and the number 7 Penske team are going to win the DPI title and overall title. So yeah, there you go. DPI going to be the 7 Penske, LMP2 the 52, GTL in the 912, and GTD the number 86 Acura. So those are all my predictions and previews of the championship scenarios and stuff like that. Going into Motul Petit Le Mans, make sure to tune into Motul Petit Le Mans tomorrow, Saturday, at October 12th at 12 o'clock Eastern time. So it's going to be a fun race. It's a 10-hour race, so you'll be up till 10:30 at night for my people on the East Coast. It's going to be a very fun race. I think the championship battles, mainly in GTLM and DPI, are going to be very, very interesting to watch. And to all my Corvette fans, we got this, brothers. We going to do it. Corvette must win the GTLM championship.